Hi everybody, it's David H from the David Health channel. I want to talk to you today about the keto diet and the myths surrounding the keto diet, because they're absolute rubbish. So if anybody's putting you off trying the keto diet, telling you all these myths that are going about, you see them all over social media, your friends will be telling you, no, it's no good, all you do is eat fat and you get fat, it's terrible for your arteries, all the rest of it. Forget it. It isn't. It's good, it's great, you can lose lots of weight, lose lots of fat, should I say, because it's not weight you need to lose, it's the fat off your body you need to lose. So okay, let's get onto it and some of those myths and the reason why you should be trying keto diet. Once you try it, you'll stick to it and it'll work. Okay, myth number one. Okay, myth number one. One of the most common misconceptions about the keto diet is that ketosis is the same as ketoacidosis. No, it is not. Ketosis, of course, is the metabolic process your body goes through when it burns fat for energy. Now, on a standard diet, your body burns sugar for energy. This means that when you eat carbohydrates, your body processes those calories into energy. This is the body's default setting, but the body does have an alternative. It can use fat for energy. This process is called ketosis. Your body releases the fat stored in your cells all over your body. This fat is then turned by a metabolic system into chemical compounds called ketones. Your body's cells then absorb ketones, burn these molecules into energy your body needs to continue living. Ketosis, it's the foundation for the keto diet. Unfortunately, lots of people confuse ketosis with ketoacidosis. The former is safe, the latter is deadly. Obviously, they are not one and the same. Ketoacidosis is a condition where your body builds up too many ketone acids, which is a byproduct of breaking down fat. When your body builds up too many ketones, you can die. Simple as that. The good news is, and it is good news, is for most people, ketoacidosis is not a risk at all. This condition really becomes a risk if your body does not produce any insulin whatsoever. Type 1 diabetics, this is one of the problems they have, is that initially, especially when they're not diagnosed, the body goes into ketoacidosis, and it really is frightening and a terrible thing to happen. But with a keto diet, you actually, if you're producing your own insulin, you have nothing to fear. You have to understand that even with a keto framework, you're still taking a little bit of carbohydrate. This is usually enough to turn on the insulin for a small period of time in your system to prevent ketoacidosis. Now, don't think just because you've switched over to burning fat as energy that ketoacidosis is going to be a real threat. It isn't. As long as you're able to produce insulin naturally, you will be okay. Okay, and that's myth number one. Let's move on to myth number two. Okay, myth number two. So, you've had your friends telling you that it's just all it is a meal plan that you eat lots of butter sticks, tons of eggs and liquid fat. It tastes awful. All you're eating is all this waxy tasting one-dimensional food. Absolute nonsense. And let me explain more. If you think that a lot of the foods that you eat are things that you would consider guilty pleasures, I'm talking about fatty and salty foods. You're actually halfway to your keto diet. You're already eating it, but you don't know it as yet. Right, all of us some guilty pleasures when it comes to fatty foods. You know you shouldn't be eating it, but you do it anyway because it tastes so good. It's when you actually combine it with the other foods that was mentioned earlier in the carbohydrates. But can you imagine changing your diet so that you basically eat all your guilty pleasures all of the time? Could you stick to something like that? Of course you could. Who wouldn't? It sounds crazy, I know, but that's precisely what the keto diet is. helps you load up on fat, the food that you're supposed to avoid, and you end up losing weight and becoming healthier. So these misconceptions about high fat foods, absolute nonsense. Now I'm going to go into this in a bit more depth in myth 3, because people have been saying the same things over and over again for years. Just because somebody says it and it's said over and over again doesn't necessarily mean it's true. You enjoy the vast majority of the meals on a keto diet and you'll feel better for it. You'll lose weight with it. And I'm also going to put a link in the description below for a keto plan if you want to follow that step by step. It's up to you, but this time let's get rid of all these myths that are floating about and we'll move on to myth number 3. Okay, so let's have a look. Okay, myth number 3. People have been telling us for years that foods high in fat are so bad for us. This has been said for years and years, but now you look at all the, especially in America with the obesity epidemic that's going on, and most countries around the world to be quite fair, loading up on eggs and fats will not lead to a death sentence with everything else being equal. For all the fat and cholesterol to eventually kill you, you have to be doing something else, and that is pumping your system full of carbohydrates. When you put carbohydrates into your system and you pair it with the high fat intake, which most of the diets are, what we're eating now, with an inflamed cardiovascular system, you run the risk of developing blood clots. This in turn can lead to strokes and other cardiovascular problems. Now, when you cut carbs from your diet, you discover the real truth about the dietary fat intake. Truth is, the exact opposite of what you've been hearing for years is actually happening. High fat foods actually improve your health. They really do. Now, everybody's saying that it's high cholesterol foods can make us sick. The real dietary bad guy, the bad thing, is sugar. Sugar, when you load up on sugar, and then you're having white rice, white potatoes, refined flour products, it's only a matter of time before you'll get sick. Carbohydrates inflame your body from poor skin, pimples, high blood pressure, cardiovascular issues, certain types of cancers, and go on and on. There's so many detrimental health problems through carbohydrates. Sugar itself brings in all these. Bad news, the truth is high-fat foods are actually more consistent with how the human body has evolved. I'll say that again. High-fat foods are more consistent with how the human body has evolved. When you look at our ancestors, the main things that they're looking for, used to look for, was fatty foods. The reason with fatty foods is because you feel fuller for longer. When you feel fuller for longer, you don't feel like eating more. Fat is also metabolized by your body into compounds that are actually very healthy for you. So stick to your fat. Keto diet is good, as I've told you. Let's move on to number 4. There's many high carb, high starch foods like rice you could easily replace with keto friendly ingredients. Don't think just because these substitutions are not obvious, they're not impossible. Secrets to staying on a keto diet involves your taste. That's it, really. The bottom line. You don't have to change your flavour preferences. You don't have to become a completely new person to adopt a keto diet. You keep with what your taste preferences are. Because you see, this is one of the problems with a lot of diets. You change completely all the flavours that you've been used to, that you enjoy. Once you take them out, then it's just a recipe for disaster. You're going to stop doing the diet. And that's one of the main reasons people go back to, the bad ways of eating, because they've gone too far away from your old habits. So really, to make things worse, they end up weighing more than after their diet when they do this, because you have a bounce back effect, if you like. Once you stop a diet, if you've starved yourself and not enjoyed doing the diet, when you come off it, the fat comes back with a vengeance. So really, keeping with what you enjoy, what your taste buds are, is the key to it. With keto, you'll need to find a keto substitute for the high carb dishes you enjoy. There's no need to totally forget about your taste preferences or go-to meals. You don't have to change yourself drastically for the keto diet to work for you. Just because you've used a certain way of eating doesn't mean there's no keto substitute. There's always a substitute in keto. All boils down to how willing you are to make that transition, to make things easy on yourself, to get a framework of this way to work, or the diet itself. As I say, I'll put a link in the description below. Have a look if you want, but at the moment, let's have a look at things. You need to be a little bit creative with how you work and what foods that you use, but let's go on to the next myth number 4. No, number 5, isn't it? Yeah, this is number 4. Myth number 5. Okay, we'll move on to that one next. Okay, the 5th and final myth regards the keto diet. To be honest, there's so many others out there as well, but these are sort of the 5 ones I think that the main ones said. And main excuses a lot of the time. People tend to say things like they don't have time to change the way of eating around so much. Now, if you've previously tried other diets, I mean, some of them are horrendous, how we have to adjust and weigh everything and do all these various things to get to fit in with you. Go for a weekly weigh-in. Yeah, you know the one I'm on about. Most people fail on that. You only see the ones that have done well. Of course you do. This is the keto diet. Is you do have time. You have to just find the flavors that you actually like, that you enjoy now. Find some alternatives. Once you've got them in place, it's so easy. Now, don't get me wrong. It's handy when there's somebody to help you. There's I have put, let's say, this link. I've mentioned it before. There's a link below that's excellent on the keto, and it lays everything out and it helps you so much. But to be quite fair, if you do have a bit of time yourself, you can work all this out quite easily. What you need to be eating on a keto diet, what you need to be changing to get the same foods that you're having now. So, as I say, give it a try, because I say once you get on it and get into the system, you will lose weight. There's no question about it. And it's not just about the weight, it's about the health. The improvement on your health will be massive. Your energy levels will improve. Everything in your life will get better. I can assure you it really will. Now, you may have noticed when I do these videos, this is actually a new channel, but I do these videos and I don't edit. I leave all my mistakes and things in because I want it to be natural. I do reading and prior to prepare, just to make it a little bit more from the heart. Don't get me wrong, I want people to follow. No, I didn't follow on this, is it? It's subscribe. I'm not very good with social media, but if you can subscribe or like or whatever you do, that'd be brilliant. If you don't, that's not a problem either, because I do this. I want people to really find the answer that they're looking for in the battle, because it's probably been a battle for you for many years, as most people who are trying to lose fat, and it doesn't need to be. Get easy. So as I say, work out your food plans. I'm going to put some more things on with keto because I think it's a really good system. It really does work, and you can stay on it. So in the meantime, I wish you all good health. From me, David H, and see you again in another video. Thanks for watching. Okay, bye bye now.